Since 2005, the United States has funded an effort to train Palestinian security forces and help coordinate security between Israel and the Palestinian Authority. The mission, led by an American general, has received bipartisan support over the years, helping to support critical security cooperation between Palestinian and Israeli security forces. What are the current plans for the continuation of this function in the region, and what funding do you anticipate for FY20?
The function will continue. I think what's being contemplated as well, that the function should be brought under the auspices of the embassy and the ambassador. That's really the internal conversation that we're having right now, and I tend to believe that it should, because I think it needs to be part of our coordinated response to the challenges that in Israel in particular. So I think that's really, but the function will continue. The question is it under the authority of the ambassador?
Yeah, and I again agree with your streamlining of these services and these and the mission that we have in order to reach that objective. On that vein as well, one consistent frustration we had with USAID under the previous administration was the lack of information and data shared with Congress on the impact of the programs paid with taxpayer dollars. I believe that any U.S. taxpayer dollar that leaves the country must be working in our national security interest and have strict accountability metrics to be measured and see what's working and what's not, as you previously mentioned. If you can elaborate on this a little bit, you kind of touched on it, but how will you ensure the consistent and open communication between the State Department and this subcommittee going forward? And part of that, and how you're planning on repositioning our aid towards prioritizing national security?
Well, I think will be very helpful. And I used to, when people used to tell me this when I was in the Senate, I didn't fully appreciate it. Now I really appreciate this idea that we do need to get more of our Senate confirmed people on board. We're starting to get some of them, but if we can really start to get our undersecretaries in place that oversee some of these bureaus, we have good people functioning there now. Many of them are career Foreign Service officers who are acting as the chief bureau officer for the time being. But it is helpful to have someone there that you brought in for that specific purpose. And in fact, many of these senior bureau officers are welcoming of that. So I maybe did not fully appreciate it while I was in the Senate and we were slowing up some of these nominations in the past, how critical, not me, I wasn't a big holder of nominations, but others were, how critical having some of these Senate confirmed positions are. We're making good progress on it now, but I think, I don't know, we're 18 weeks into the job. I believe I have four or five in the building currently, and I don't think any of our undersecretaries are in yet. So we're anxiously awaiting them, and that will really help us improve everything from legislative relations to, to actually answering your questions on the national security component of it. Everything we do is driven by the national security, because the national security is at the core of our national interest. The most important thing the federal government does is keep America safe. Without safety, you can't have prosperity. So it's the most important thing we do, and all of our foreign policy should be geared first and foremost on what keeps America safe.